Hey there, everybody. So, really quickly, as you can tell, I got a new webcam. If you haven't been on my main channel, the No Dragons Please channel, I think I made this announcement already, but yeah, got a new webcam, which is great because it means for VidEdge and my other sub-channels where I use myself right here, and I'm kind of looking at myself. I'll try and get better positioning. I just need to wait to get a USB extension cord so I can kind of place the camera from like down here to up here. Is going to be the ideal thing. But in today's VidEdge video, we're actually going to be talking about some advice for small YouTubers. And it is going to be related to getting advice, actually, from small YouTube groups. So, number one, try and remember on when you're taking advice, just kind of weigh the weigh costs and benefits of the advice. Like, is taking the advice going to cost you something? And if it does cost you something, are you going to probably benefit more from the advice than, say, like, you wouldn't? And here's the thing with cost-benefit. Like, benefits are kind of, like, somewhat uncertain. Costs are pretty much, you can understand them. So for example, say someone tells me, oh, my thumbnails need to pop out a bit more. My cost of listening to that advice is like changing my thumbnail format, and then I would have to do a little bit of analysis, a little bit of comparison to try and figure out is it valuable for me to change my thumbnail format, or do I think my thumbnails are fine as is? So when you're getting advice from other YouTubers, especially like other small YouTubers, and don't be afraid to get advice from small YouTubers. One, it is just a different form of perspective that maybe you can't see because you are a little bit biased on your own content. And that's going to be the case for any creator, regardless. If they're going to be biased on their own content, I guarantee, I will probably tell you, yeah, I make the greatest content of all time. I really don't think that. I think I make pretty good content, but then, other people might not think that. But, just know, you do have a little bit of implicit bias towards your own content. So hearing from someone, even if they're not like a YouTube guru or whatever that may entail, listening to advice from someone, another small YouTuber, is not bad if you take their advice with kind of a grain of salt. Like, you take the constructive criticism if they are being constructive. If they're just being jerks, then probably not advice worth listening to. But if they are being constructive, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and, slice around the meat, and if you're vegetarian, I guess slice around the broccoli or something like that, and kind of figure out which part you actually want from their advice and which part you don't. And as always, just thank them, basically. One, this builds a good relationship for you with other small YouTubers, because as a small YouTuber, you should actually be looking to collab with other small YouTubers that are relatively within your niche. So for my VidEdge advice channel, I would say I'd be looking to collab with other advice channels or other YouTubers who make advice videos, and kind of see what we can, kind of put together from there. It might be kind of fun to do that, actually. If you are a YouTuber who gives advice, or a YouTuber who has done an advice video, feel free to let me know in the comments, because I would love to collab with you. In fact, it would be really, honestly, kind of fun. We could do a whole little Zoom call. It could be a podcast almost kind of session, and it would be really good. Sorry, I'm trying to get used to the webcam sitting in this weird thing, but I also see myself on the screen, so bear with me on the next few VidEdge videos, or if you are following my Dragon Lifestyle channel, those videos as well. But yeah, don't be afraid to get advice from small YouTubers. As always, kind of weigh that cost-benefit analysis. Is taking the advice ideally going to benefit you more than not taking the advice? Because, some people give bad advice, some people give good advice, and just because someone say at 20 subs doesn't mean that they don't have great advice. They just might not be able to make it happen for themselves. There's this large mentality that seems to go around YouTube well, how can you give advice if you are not all that big? There are people who are really knowledgeable about stuff in YouTube who are small creators because A, they either just don't put the time into using their own advice, Or B, like they have some really great advice and they just don't know how to put it on their own channel, but they know how to help other people. In fact, I would say a large majority of people are like that in life as well. There's a large majority of people who, probably have some good advice about like financials and stuff like that, and they could be the poorest people in the world, but like they really know what to do with money. They just unfortunately are in situations that they are unable to get money. That's probably like the best comparison I can make in that scenario. Two, be careful of bad advice. All right, there are a lot of people on YouTube who will try and sell you bad advice, and if you ever come across any of those people, feel free to let me know, and we can kind of have a talk, and then I can tell you like, yeah, no, their advice is actually pretty solid, or no, you shouldn't listen to that advice. It's bad advice. Like they're right now. A huge thing for whatever on YouTube is hiding your subscribers, and you should never do that. Or at least there's not enough data to prove that hiding your subscribers actually makes you grow. Because the people who say it does don't really know the scientific method, right? So the penalty for taking bad advice is actually setting yourself a little bit further back. And, there are YouTubers who seem like they are like, experts, stuff like that, in how to grow YouTube, and like, maybe they have some numbers. I think anyone who says like, I can show you how to grow YouTube is probably going to have numbers that go up really quickly. I mean, I would even expect VidEdge to kind of trail that as well. But I always like to say for myself, the advice I'm giving you is giving you perspective, right? I'm giving you perspective, and it's up to you to take the perspective and apply it how you think it should be applied, right? Because everyone's different. Every YouTube channel is going to be different. There is no one catch-all method to like gain 1,000 subscribers. There's no one catch-all method to gain 1 million views, right? So just kind of realize that when you are taking advice from people who claim to be experts, is that, kind of weigh their advice, get opinions from other YouTubers who, maybe watch the person, or watch other YouTubers who give advice and stuff like that, or just maybe go to other YouTubers who give advice as well. And that will actually help you greatly to kind of figure out like what advice is good, what advice is bad, right? But yeah, if you hear something that seems like it's too good to be true, like this is how you will get your first 1,000 subscribers, don't believe that. One, it is a topic that people basically frankly use to get a lot of views. And two, just because it works for them, it doesn't mean it works for you, right? Like just because that's how they got 1,000 subscribers doesn't mean that's how you're going to get 1,000 subscribers. Again, kind of this concept of everyone's different, everyone's channel's different. In fact, every channel, if you run multiple channels, is different from the channels that you might run as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. And the last huge advice that I have for small YouTubers, either A, looking to get into YouTube, or small YouTubers who are looking to get a little bit more knowledge, or looking to like find a reason to keep doing this, is be honest with yourself. And by that, I mean like, we all get into YouTube for different reasons. My reason happened to be like I needed a hobby when I graduated high school to keep myself busy while I was also doing college. So that was my reasoning. And I've just kind of continued it since I've graduated. Well, I guess I'm going to graduate school now, but like I've continued since I've graduated. Just doing YouTube because it's something I enjoy. It's a hobby I enjoy. And I do make some money from it on my main channel, but it's not anything that would be like, oh, I can just, quit and do all that. But that's not my main focus. Like, I enjoy just doing YouTube. I enjoy being a part of the process. Be honest with yourself as to why you got into YouTube. And this is where a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, if you got into YouTube for money, that's a bad thing. That is not a bad thing, right? Everyone has a different reason they want to get into YouTube. It's not a bad thing to get into YouTube for money. It becomes bad when you become obsessed about it. Like, oh, I'm not making money, I gotta quit YouTube now. That's when it becomes bad. So like, if you do for whatever reason get into YouTube for money, just realize it's a long game. It's almost like investing in stocks or stuff like that. Like you're going to take some bad trade deals before you get some good ones. So be honest with yourself as to why you got into YouTube. Did you do it for fun? Did you want to learn something? Did you want to make money? You know, just be honest with yourself in that, because, you know, honesty is good to people who are going to be watching you, but it's also good to keep yourself honest, because, you know, the worst thing you can ever do is like be like, I got into YouTube for money, and then be like, no, I just got into this for a hobby. Then you're just going to get frustrated because your end goal is money. So if you're not making money on YouTube, then you're probably a little disappointed. So just be honest with yourself. There's really not a bad reason to get into YouTube. In general, I will say in general, because there could be something that I'm not thinking of as a reason that is bad to get into YouTube. But in general, it's not a bad idea to get into YouTube. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed these 3 huge key points that I really wanted to talk about with small YouTubers. And if you did, feel free to let me know in the comment section. And feel free to let me know, like, maybe you have some advice. Maybe you have gotten some bad advice. Maybe you have a reason that you got into YouTube that you really want to share. Feel free to let me know that, because I would love to hear it. And, hey, we gotta love that we have a webcam again, right? Because it means that we don't have to record with our phone anymore. We get to use our nice, sophisticated computer equipment. But yeah, as always, let me know what you guys might want me to talk about next in a VidEdge video. It can cover anything about YouTube. Honestly, it can cover anything about social media. I'm just most knowledgeable in YouTube and not necessarily all social media. But I will do the research for you if you really want me to. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. We will talk to you guys later, and goodbye.